everyone. We are here alive. Welcome to the. All right, here we are. So, welcome to another episode of In the Trenches. I am Mariela, and I am here with JT and Isaiah for another episode of Sales Strategies and Motivation. Today, we are going to dive deep into the art of handling of. I think I got the wrong paper.
Today, we are going to review the sales process and start by reviewing yesterday, what we talked about yesterday, and then dive into the last 3 steps.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, so I'll leave you with the 2 of you here.
All right, well,
Sweet.
Good morning, Isaiah.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great start to this Thursday. And, I guess it doesn't matter. Maybe you're watching it sometime in the future, and it's not a Thursday, but whatever. Like Mariella said, we are in the trenches. We're talking about the sales process. Yesterday, what did we review, Isaiah?
So yesterday, we went over prospecting, qualifying, needs assessment. We talked about how when you are prospecting in sales, no matter if that's door-to-door or over the phone, some of the ways you can do that are email, social media, door knocking, over the phone, obviously, and any networking events that you may go to or that are being hosted in your area.
Did you hit the referral partner?
Referral partners as well. Then after that, you got qualifying. Qualifying, you want to make sure that you have a certain amount / level of need for your services. We had talked about how when I'm going door to door, I'm not looking I'm not knocking in the poorest areas. I am not looking for the cleanest homes that have been well maintained, all year round. For JT, he's not looking for small businesses with no money to spend that just don't have a really big need for anything technology wise in their company. And then lastly, we went over needs assessment. So the needs assessment. We had talked about how the more you can assess how much, or the more you can observe what needs to be done, the more you're able to. Oh well, actually, I think I just screwed myself up on that one. Needs assessment basically would for me would be I've got to go around, count up the windows, look at all the windows, make sure that I've got to see how dirty they are, how many windows they have. So in that way, I am assessing what needs to be done, and then also coming to a conclusion of what I should charge them for the work that I'm going to be providing. For JT, he's assessing, how many funds they have, how many people they have within the business, and then kind of putting together a proposal from there. And then today, we are going over presenting, handling objections, and the closing of the deal. So I'll pass that back to JT.
Yeah, so real quick on prospecting, obviously there's a lot of avenues of outbound. You also have inbound prospecting. So if you've got a website, if you've got a social media presence, you've got inbound coming in. So you're taking those calls, you're taking those emails, you're reaching out to people that way. As far as qualifying, I put a couple of things on here that are going to kind of come into play down here that we didn't have yesterday, but making sure you're talking to the right person who makes the decisions. Timeline, and do they actually have a need? Do they have a want? And then, like Isaiah said, how great is that need? And then the needs assessment, right? I'm sitting down typically on a second appointment and going through all of their needs. This is also a time here when you're qualifying and getting those needs assessment. I was thinking, Isaiah, with you, this may not be a need for your customer right here, right now. But it's a time to connect with that potential client and set something up for the future. So like you said, you may find out that, hey, we just had these things done, just had the windows cleaned back in the fall. We usually do it in the fall.
And I do want to say to that, even if they've just had the specifically for window washing, if they've had it done the day before, they could have had it done the day before or a couple of months before. There are ways to work around that. That doesn't disqualify them necessarily when it comes to window washing. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, and it also doesn't disqualify them if you know that that's something that they get done. They do it on a yearly basis. So now, hey, this is a potential lead, or this is a lead. It's a potential client. Maybe they're not looking to do it right now, but if you put that into your funnel, you can always go back to them. You can always make a phone call. You can always send an email and follow up with them, and in the future, be able to pull in that revenue. So today we're talking about presenting. This is a little different between what Isaiah and I do, right? In a lot of scenarios. So, for me, I'm typically having that needs assessment meeting, that discovery call with my clients, finding out what their needs are, what their wants are, finding out what their pain points are. And then I go back and I need to do my homework, right? I need to find out what providers are available, what I have to, use my knowledge to find out what the best solutions are. Sometimes it is setting up a second or third call where you're running through with a provider, you're talking with the client. I have a law office right now in Ann Arbor that next Wednesday will be our third call with this client. We're bringing in another partner that does managed services. And from my call with the guy yesterday, I think this is really going to fit her needs. But this is going to be an opportunity for me to introduce a partner of mine to have a conversation with her, dive a little bit deeper. And then at that point, that provider is going to, because it's a very complex deal, there's a lot of moving parts to this thing. This provider is going to be able to put together a proposal, and we'll have another meeting after that. And we may, depending on whether or not she likes them or not, I'll find out afterwards if it's a good mesh, if she likes what's going on. There's also an opportunity to bring in other providers. So this is going to be a longer process. Whereas in Isaiah's case, right, he is talking to somebody on the spot. A lot of his stuff, he's trying to close it right then and there or the same day. I think you've already done some of your presenting. He's already kind of reviewed in his initial pitch and his initial conversation at the start what he's there to do. But now he's walked around, he's looked at things, and now how would you interpret your presenting at that point?
The way I would interpret my presenting when I'm at the door, again, mine is all on the spot. It's right there, right now, no other time. So that's the only time that I'm going to be there. So I've got to close it. I've got to close it there that day on the spot. When I get up to the door, that is going to be the front hand of the presentation. The front hand of the presentation is where I am just trying to get to the backyard to count up all the windows. I'm just trying to get around the house because if I can count up the windows and give him or her a price, then I know I have a much better chance of closing the deal rather than if I was not able to get to that back end of the presentation. So the front hand of the presentation is where I'm introducing myself, explaining a little bit about what I'm doing, who I'm helping, and then asking and getting permission to go around, count up the glass, give them a quick price. Then, once I'm able to do that, I go around, count up all the glass, come back to the front. That is going to be the back end of the presentation. The back end of the presentation is where you're going to have a lot of this, which is handling objections. You're going to hear all of their objections, whether or not they want to do it, whether or not they have someone who's going to come to do it, or whether or not they want to wait. But again, as long as I can get to the backyard, count up all the glass, I have a much better chance of closing that deal.
I think this is also a spot here in the presentation, Isaiah, where I would think as you've walked around the house, you've checked things out, you've also taken into an account, like we talked about yesterday, the other services that you do provide. Correct. This is also an opportunity for you to say, hey, listen, so not only the windows, especially if they object to the windows or they're a little wishy-washy, but this is an opportunity for you to say, hey, these are some other services that my company provides. I did see this and work that in as well.
Correct. So yes, that all comes with the back end of the presentation. Like you said, taking a look at what else needs to be done. If I know that maybe they're not going to be closed right away on the windows, okay, what else can I throw in? Can I throw in some vinyl siding on the back? Can I throw in the vinyl siding on the front? Can I throw in the gutters? And then, yeah, like you said, I'm taking a look at any pavers that they have or a deck that they may have in the back. And thinking about any pressure washing that I might be able to provide to them either now or later in the future. But yeah, as we close the back end of the presentation, I'm coming around to the front door. I'm giving them a price, explaining everything that we're doing. Like I said, like I always say, we're doing the frames, the sills, and all the actual glass around the whole house, top to bottom, all 4 sides. And then I'm giving them a price. And usually, again, that's where you start to hear all of the objections. And it's your job, my job, to handle those objections, because none of them are real.
Well, and I think at this point here too, the objections that you're going to face, you're going to either face a lot of you have an opportunity. There's a chance there where you're going to face a lot of objections at the end here when you're trying to close out this sale, or few to none. And one of the things that controls what objections you're going to hear is how good a job you've done at the front end of the sale. Okay, so one of the things that I wrote up here in the qualifying section, right, and is, are you even the right person to talk to? Okay. And in my case, I talk to a lot of people kind of, I always try to go as high as I can, but sometimes you get put, even if you talk to people that you got to go through. Even if you're talking to somebody who handles the IT and has to maintain that stuff on a daily basis, there's always a chance that that person is not ultimately the decision maker. They make a decision, but then they need to take it to the owner, the CEO, the president, whatever it might be. If you can get that information out on the front end, you don't have to deal with the objection of, well, we want to think it over. Well, I like it, but I need to go show it now to my boss. Now, the problem with that is if they're showing it to the boss, same thing in your scenario, Isaiah, yours, when you think about it, yes, you probably, I know you've seen this, is, well, my wife's not home, and she really is the person who makes those type of decisions. Well, my husband's not home, he really is the one, or we make those type of decisions together. Or my husband has a guy who he likes that he uses already.
And I'll do something that you usually do, which is, if I get told that quite often, not all the time, but if I am, I kind of I go in for a long shot, and I say, you know what? All right, let's give him a call. Let's give him a call real quick. I'll explain to him what I'm doing, and then we can kind of make a decision and go from there. Does that always work? No, but sometimes it does, and I know you kind of do the same thing. Okay, why don't we set up a meeting, and why don't we have him or that decision maker come in on that meeting?
Well, the last thing you really want is to lose control of the sale. Right. And you begin to lose control of the sale when you now hand off your sales responsibility to the homeowner, to the IT manager, because now they have to go and sell it to the spouse. They have to go and sell it to the owner.
And they're never going to do a good job of selling it.
Never going to do it as good of a job as you're going to do.
Correct.
I mean, there are some scenarios where they really just need to say, hey, listen, this young guy came by earlier today. Great company. Gave me a great price on the windows. I'm going to do it. You cool with that? Yeah, just get it done. You know what? We need them done. There's always that scenario. But you're losing control of it. So the other thing here is up front. That's where you can really get that, pull that information out. So it takes a little bit of guts and it takes some practice, but it's in that qualifying stage, right? So listen, you have, and even in the needs assessment too, really when you think about it, starts in the qualifying stage. So you've reached out to somebody, you've got a conversation going, they have a need. We've got really, really inconsistent internet service. It's affecting the business. Okay, great. So now you get all that information. One thing you can ask, that you should ask, is, listen, are you the decision maker on this? Or is there somebody else we should have in on our next meeting? Or you can ask, let me ask you real quick before we wrap this up, just so we're prepared for the next meeting. What's your decision-making process look like here? Is there anybody else that needs to be involved in the presentation? That way you're getting that out ahead so that it doesn't come to bite you in the butt at the end.
Yeah, there's certain things that you want to do on the front end of the presentation rather than the back end of the presentation. And that is one of those things.
Yeah.
Like I said, it will screw you up if there does need to be a second or third opinion or person
Yeah.
on that phone call or in that meeting.
Yeah, the other thing is you can also start to get commitment at the front end. Okay, so you can ask questions like, "Listen, if I'm able to provide X, Y, and Z for you, is there any reason why you wouldn't do business with me? Is there any reason why you wouldn't want to go forward with this if we can solve these problems?" Again, you're going to pull out objections at the end to the front. Yeah, well, you know what? We're probably moving next year, locating buildings, and we're probably not really going to. We have this problem, but we don't want to really get into any type of long-term contract or anything like that. There are different things that you can pull out at the front end so that you're prepared for it. So now, instead of coming back and saying, "Well, listen, this is a big fiber build. It's going to cost $50,000, and in order to do it, you've got to sign up for a 5-year term." Okay, well, if they're thinking about moving or making changes, and that's something that they're thinking about, you're gonna fall flat on your face in the presentation because they say, "Well, we're not committing to 5 years."
So then, moving on to, I think we've covered this good enough. Moving on to the presenting, what should we write as far as that goes? For something
So
like that?
for me, I've always got a proposal. Whether a lot of times, what I'm able to do is bring in a one-page comparison, or for a simple sale, it's a one-page side-by-side presentation that I'm able to show. Hey, here are your current services. Here's the solution. Here are the problems that you're facing. That's good to have on that presentation so that they see them again. These are the problems that you stated to me. These are the things you wanted to solve. Here's a side-by-side proposal of how we're going to do that. If I'm selling a phone system, this is where I'm bringing in a demo phone. I'm plugging it in. I'm letting them touch it. I'm letting them make a phone call. I'm letting them use the speakerphone. I'm letting them ooh and ah. I'm talking about what a cool phone it is, but I'm also demonstrating how it can be plugged in anywhere and used anywhere. I may show them the mobility feature, those type of things. And it's a great place where I'm showing them cost savings as well. So 90% of the clients I work with, their existing budget, I'm able to work within it and even come in below it most times. So this is where I'm able to show cost savings.
Yep. So I just wrote, there's always a front and back end on the presentations. Over the phone, you've got proposals / multiple meetings, and then door to door is straight up, in person. You're explaining the process and then giving the price. I don't know if there's anything that you want to add for that one specifically.
No, I think for right now, that's good. We'll come back to it. Because like I came up here and I had added some stuff this morning to qualifying that we'll dive deep again into each section of these moving forward, where this stuff will come up a little bit more. So we'll go into more detail.
All right. So then we've got handling objections. Those are very common on both ends of the presentation. Those are very common in the front end and the back end. I guess all I would have to say for that one is when you're getting those objections, no matter where they're given, you just have to understand that none of them are really true. At least for me, when someone's telling me, "Oh, we don't have the money to spend on something like that," they do. That's a lie. Everybody's got money to spend. If they really want something, whether that's they're on the road, they want a meal, they're going to spend the money to go get that that fast food. So they've always got the money. It's just about the price and how well you do presenting what you're providing. And then, like I said, I mean, the main thing that when I go to every door is just understanding that I'm going to get objections no matter what. You may get a few laydowns, but you also have to understand that those are not very common. People are not just going to lay down and give you a sale all the time. You might get lucky with a few of them, but 99% of the time you're going to have to go through multiple objections or an array of people, I guess.
Yeah. I think the big thing with objection handling is you have to understand that they are going to come in the process and that they are an opportunity for you to continue to sell. They're an opportunity for you to continue to push. We'll go through the common objections. We're going to list them. We're going to come up with ideas and ways to work around those objections. Just know that just because you've gotten an objection doesn't mean that you're dead, doesn't mean that it's over. It's your job to overcome that objection. You're still in the game. You're still talking to the person. It's still a time to sell your product and convince them and get them to understand why this is the product to buy here and now.
And most times people are, from what I've seen, they're just, because I've hit many neighborhoods that other window washers or pressure washing or tree cutting companies have already hit and gone through. Most people, and I've been told this by multiple people, they're just waiting to see which salesman is going to come through and push through every single objection that they have. Because in all honesty, it's kind of a power play for people to be able to say no to someone, and someone just puts their head down and walks away. And most salesmen are going to do that. So most people are waiting for the guy who's going to just blow past every objection, not worry about it, understand that it's BS, and you're there. They're there to provide a good service for a good price and make that person happy. If you can do that, you will close a lot.
Close more business. So you got to not be afraid of the objections. You got to be ready. You got to know they're coming, and you got to push through.
Correct.
We'll dive deeper into that.
So every objection is a step closer to a yes. And then I'm also going to write, you got to understand that, like JT said, every person that you talk to is going to have a list of objections. You're going to have to go through them no matter what. So don't think that you're going to get a lay down every time, because you won't.
And then the last is closing, asking for the business. You've got to have a few different ways to ask for their business. And one of those ways, as we talked about earlier in the process, hey, if I can solve X, Y, and Z for you, is there any reason why you wouldn't move forward with this? No, I mean, we need to get this solved, right? We need to get this problem resolved. Okay, cool. So now you can come back to this at the end. You can use what you did at the beginning of the sale to help close it at the end. So I can say, hey, listen, Jim, when we were here last week, you said you had this problem. You wanted to have this updated, and you needed this, right? You needed to save some money. Well, we've solved this problem. We've given you this new feature, and we're saving you 15% on your bill. Here's the paperwork. Let's get this thing going. Or, have that paperwork ready with you. Be ready to go, Isaiah. Like you said, hey, listen, you said you wanted the windows cleaned. If the price was good, you would do it. We're going to do the best job in the world cleaning these windows. You're going to love it. Guarantee it. If you're not happy, we'll come back and fix anything you're not happy with. You agreed that the price is good. I gave you, you got the discount. I can get back here today at 2 p.m. and we'll get this washed up. Sound good?
Yep. Always ask for the business first of all, and then always, that is something that I will say. I will say, okay, is it a price related? Because if they're interested and then they start giving you an objection, the next question you're able to ask, or that I'm able to ask, is, okay, is it a price related issue, or is it you just don't see the value in the work that I'm providing to you? Most of the time they'll say, no, I do see the value, because they do. And most times it will just come down to the price, to which you can either start adding in. Like we said, when you're assessing what needs to be done, you can start adding in, okay, I saw the outsides of the gutters look really, really dirty. They got a bunch of dirt and grime buildup on them. Why don't we throw those in? We'll scrub the outsides of them, get all the gutters and all the windows done, and then kind of move on from there. But always make sure to ask for the business. If you leave a door or leave a phone call or a meeting, and you don't ask for the business, you have failed.
You failed. You've got to ask for it, right? They're not going to just say, oh, sometimes they'll say just do it. But like you said, you don't get a whole lot of laydowns. You've got to actually ask, right? And if you've put in the work, you spent the 5-10 minutes working with this customer, 2-3 weeks, at some point you have to ask for the business.
Correct.
All right. We're at a little over 20 minutes. We're going to move in here. We'll bring Mariella in. Do you have any feedback on what we just covered?
Quite honestly, I don't think I do. I mean, you guys were very thorough, and so I think I leave it like that. But we will go into our next portion of the podcast or the video here with a motivational video.
Yeah. So let you two listen to it, and I will step off for a second.
Looking what Dr. Blanton, Smiley Blanton, who is a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, what he said about fear. He said, fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear put people in the hospital. Fear can aid you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself that you're capable of doing, but it will paralyze you. And it seemed like you're in a hypnotic spell. And I ask you a question, what is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself, of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that? It's one of the things I had to ask myself. So I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. It's not going to happen. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on. You've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to allow this to hold me back? I like what Zig Ziglar says. He said, fear is false evidence appearing real. That is an illusion that we create in our mind. It is a state of mind that can be changed. So let's look at how we can begin to take some steps to restructure that fear, to begin to expand our visions of ourselves, to begin to increase our self-esteem. Webster said that self-esteem means confidence and satisfaction in oneself. Look at your life right now. Whatever you've done up to this point in time, your life is working. Whatever you have produced, it came out of you as a result of the kind of person that you have become. It's a result of your choices. It's a result of your consciousness. Now you have to ask yourself, are you satisfied with what you have produced? Is this what you want? Would you like for things to be better than this? Do you believe that you deserve better than this? Or are you content? This is it. You don't have to do anything else. That you've already resigned yourself in life and say, well, I'm happy. I'm not starving like the people in Calcutta. Are you allowing yourself to get off the hook like that? Or do you believe somewhere in the back of your mind or in your heart that there's some other great work for you to do? There's something else that life has for you. And that's why you're here.
Oops. All right. So that was my little video for today. What did you guys think?
Well, I thought that was pretty good. I actually wrote down something I said. Something he had said was fear is false evidence appearing real. So I thought that was the one thing that I had grabbed out of it. I did like that.
Yeah. There are a lot of fears, and there's a lot of times I think you know people, you meet people, you don't. They put a good face right to their life. You don't always know, but everybody has some type of fear. We all have fears, right? Fear is it's an instinct that we have to keep ourselves safe, and it's useful, right? It's part of our evolution as a species. It's kept us safe. It's helped us evolve to this point. But fear in the wrong places, too much fear can really hold you back, can really hurt you. Taking a look at what your fears are and working on them and improving them will help you. And in sales, fear comes into play all the time. Yeah. I've been doing it a long time. There's still times where I get on those phones and I'm like, what's going to happen? What am I going to face? And yeah, I got to overcome that. I know with you with door knocking, it's probably not every day, but there are days when you don't want it. You don't really, maybe not feeling it. And that's where that fear can kind of creep into you, like,
you want it, but yeah, the fear starts to get to you. Something I told JT the other day was, every door that I knock, this goes for everybody. You just got to understand that no matter if you're hitting the biggest house that you've ever seen, multi-million-dollar mansions or middle-class neighborhoods, whatever it is, You just got to understand that those are all people. They are no different than anybody else. They've just worked a little harder and put themselves in a bit of a better position. So just understand that they are all people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Well, I'm gonna add to that. He says they work harder. Sometimes, working harder, but also working smarter.
There you go.
Okay. So with that said, we are going to wrap up our today's session, and let's make a moment to celebrate and collaborate in a collaborative community. So before we wrap up this session, let's take a moment and to if you have any questions or comments, put it in the comments below, and then until next time.
Well, and don't forget, like and share the video.
like
Come
you said,
on.
There you go.
Hell
We
yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Any thoughts that y'all may have, put them down in the comments, and like we always say, we'll review them, go over them, and answer anything that you guys may have to ask.
That's right.
So,
All right.
So until
than that-
next time,
that's right.
Bye.
Have a great Thursday.
signing off.
See y'all.